Speaking of guys who carry themselves well, segue alert. We're
Oh,
gonna bring
professional.
on right now CBS's Ion Sports. Royce Young. He's also at the Daily Thunder, and he's gonna help us preview the rest of the Western Conference. What's going on, Royce?
I thought you were going to segue me with the teddy bear thing because I am kind of teddy bearish.
Oh, that's
I'd
so
cuddle.
sweet.
You would cuddle.
But actually, I
Okay.
just wanted to ask you about the Thunder. And okay, so to me, this is my theory going right now. Like the Thunder are the favorites in the West, right? I mean, they have to be. They have the most stability. They're not going to be losing Tyson Chandler. They're not looking to acquire something. It seems like right now, if it's even this could even be said about a team where all their best players are on rookie contracts, basically. Uh, they are the favorites. Is that fair?
I think it's fair. I mean, but it freaks me out to a great degree to hear somebody say that type of thing. But I mean, yeah, I mean they were in the Western Conference Finals last year. I mean, a lot of people hesitate to give them. I love hearing everybody say things on Sports Center or whenever they're having roundtable discussions. They'll say things like, this team's got to take the next step. Well, I guess the next step is like going to the NBA Finals and winning it, because going to the Western Conference Finals is pretty darn good, I think. I mean, I think that's a pretty good next step. I mean, in basically year 3 of their existence here in Oklahoma. So, I guess that they would be considered a favorite. It's hard not to think. I mean, they should be better than they were
And
a
they
year
had
ago,
the
and
they
they
had
were
the
within
Mavericks
two
on the
fourth
ropes
quarters of
there.
maybe playing in the NBA Finals.
Yep. Here's kind of a question for you. Also, Rick Bucher, notably, but also I think Ethan sort of harbors this belief as well that Russell Westbrook is actually the best player on the Thunder. You watch more Thunder, you study more film than just about anybody who's not associated with the organization. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that they're equals? Do you think that Durant is a superior player, or do you think that Westbrook, at this point in his career anyway, contributes more on a nightly basis?
That's a really interesting question. And, obviously the common feeling is going to be, heck no, Durant is the best player on the team. But, I think anybody that watched the Thunder for three-fourths of the last season, really before the Jeff Green trade, would say that Russell Westbrook was the MVP of that team last season. And he kind of kept the team going. Durant kind of got off to a slower start than a lot of people expected. And so, I mean, I don't know if I would say he's better. I mean, that's just so subjective to say, like, well, this guy's better than that guy. I mean, I don't even know if I'd say, Durant's better than a lot of other players in the league. But in terms of, like, Russell Westbrook and what he brings to the team, I would say he's equally – my dog is bothering me. I would say that Russell Westbrook is equally as valuable to the Thunder as Kevin Durant is.
Clearly, your dog is a Durant fan. Real
She
quick
wants
before
to
we get to
answer
the
this
rest of the
question.
Western,
Get in there, Wrigley.
before we get to the rest of the Western Conference, I've been critical of Westbrook in the past, just worried about not necessarily what he's doing now, but what he could be doing later. Explain to me why Westbrook hates basketball and wants to destroy the Thunder.
The thing about Russell Westbrook is that he's rough on the eyes sometimes, and when you watch him play, and that's the thing, is that a lot of people didn't watch him for 82 games last season. And not to say that people like aren't basketball junkies, they didn't care, but like they didn't watch him every night. And so when they saw him in the postseason, that was a lot of people's first chance to watch Russell Westbrook, 2, 3, 4, 5 nights in a row. And when they saw that, they saw the good Russell Westbrook, which is the guy that put up a triple-double in Game 7 against the Grizzlies, or that carried the Thunder for extended points during that series. But they also saw the bad Russell Westbrook, like Game 4 against the Nuggets, where he took 32 shots and got totally lost and completely lost his mind for a full quarter of basketball. And that's just kind of what you get with Russell. And I've always said, if you're going to get the good, you've got to take the bad with him. And that's all you can hope for as he grows up. He's just 23. And that you hope as he matures and gets older that some of that bad stuff will happen a lot less often. And so, that's just the world you live in when you watch Russell Westbrook every night.
Yeah, I know it's difficult because we don't have rosters for next season yet. There's still a lot of moves that need to be made in the West. You mentioned that next step for the Thunder is getting to the finals, winning the championship. Who are you worried about? Not that you just think, oh, they're really good, but who actually worries you that will get in the way of the Thunder taking that next step?
Obviously, like you said, it just depends on who does what in the upcoming weeks. I mean, if the Lakers really did get Dwight Howard and Chris Paul to go. I mean, that's obviously a thing you got to deal with. But I mean, just the Lakers in general, the current roster, that's a tough matchup for Oklahoma City. They did well with them last year in the one meeting they had when they had Kendrick Perkins. And the Thunder has historically, ever since the playoff series, played the Lakers pretty well. But I mean, that's obviously a good team. They match up really well. Teams that have two post scores like that, Oklahoma City's way better off than they used to be now that they have Serge Ibaka and Kendrick Perkins rather than Nenad Kristic and Jeff Green. But that team's good. Obviously, the Mavericks, just because, as they showcased last season, I mean, a team with that kind of experience and that kind of ability is going to give a young team like Oklahoma City problems. I think Memphis is going to be a tough matchup for Oklahoma City this year. Oklahoma City was pretty lucky, I think, to get away with a 7-game win in that series. Nick Collison just got away with basically beating the crap out of Zach Randolph for the last 4 games, and that helped a lot, and that afforded Oklahoma City the chance to get through. But I would say that those – geez, calm down.
Clearly a Zach Randolph fan.
But, yeah, she really, really is. But, I mean, I know I'm probably forgetting somebody that's an obvious candidate, but I would say the Lakers, Grizzlies, Mavericks are 3 teams that I look at that I feel like are pretty good, going to give Oklahoma City a pretty tough run.
We've got a quick question from our good friend Calvin and Hobo. Has anyone asked Brooks or Presti whether Harden will start?
Sam Presti was asked at his annual preseason presser, and he gave a very Sam Presti answer that was basically, I'll defer that to Scott. We trust him with all decisions. Brooks hasn't addressed the media yet, so nobody's had a chance to ask him. I assume tomorrow when training camps get going, somebody will have a good question to ask him that. But I think everything points to James Harden stepping into the starting lineup. I think Scott Brooks wanted to do it last postseason, but was just afraid to mix things up. He's a bit stubborn in that way, but I would expect James Harden to start this season.